Kakadosh, Boker Or, Bekiim Bahalacha 4, day 75. This is yesterday's. Day 75. Okay, this is page 184. The Siman Kavzayin, Siman 27, Halacha Pehe. We're talking about the new rubber protective covers, right? So this is the small one, right? That goes only on the top. So it says, most recently, an enterprising individual developed a rubber cover for the bite of the Tefillin Shel Yad that covers only the top half centimeter of the bite. Yeah, mamash lemala, mamash, not the entire bite, just the top half. This is sufficient to protect the corners, while still leaving almost the entire bite uncovered. There is much stronger basis to permit the use of this type of cover, but even so, it's still best not to have any cover whatsoever when you're doing the beracha. Meaning, if somebody asks you which cover is better, obviously this cover is much better, right? The one which is only not the full, the full thing, the one only on the top rubber. Yes, on the corners. Badai. Mikola bite? Because we already said that if it's covering the entire bite, according to a lot of problems. Okay, fine. Okay. But for sure, this one is much better to make if you're going to do with the beracha. This is much better, even though he says it's better to do it with nothing. But technically speaking, מה הכוונה יש לזה חור? חור למעלה זה כלום. מה זה קשור? Yeah, he comes and he says like this. 203. Yeah, that's what I have. I have both of them for my tefillin, the small ones. Right? There is more room for leniency with this rubber cover, since it covers such a small portion of the bite, leaving all four sides and most of the top exposed to the air. Meaning the other one, all four sides are basically covered, right? Except for a little bit of the side where you have the yod of the tefillin, which is a little bit more open, and you have a top circle on the top. But it's not a huge circle, right? And they shouldn't have done it circle. They should have done it square, right? Just like the other one. But okay, fine. Don't ask too many questions, right, on them. So he says, here, you're leaving all four sides and most of the top exposed to there. This is probably acceptable even according to the answer C of Tosafot cited above in the footnote to the Halacha 84. Even so, maybe it's possible that one should still remove the cover, right, in honor of the bracha, to show that it's not part of the mitzvah, right? Again, maybe. It wasn't even sure. Meaning, technically speaking, if you make the bracha with this on, right, you're fine. And that's what actually Rav Asher Weiss and others hold. But again, maybe. Furthermore, there might be a halachic problem with leaving the cover on all times, since it might be considered a permanent plating on the bite. See, this session, you remember that we said that anything which is there permanently, even if you didn't stick it on with a glue, it could still be a problem. Yerushalmi Zedah Charedit, Rav Asher Weiss approved this new rubber and ruled that there is no need to remove it at any time, even while putting on one's tefillin. And according to this discussion, however, they should not have ruled so leniently. Yitzchak Yosef also wrote a letter approving the rubber cover, but he recommended that it should be removed each day before saying the bracha while putting on the tefillin. Okay, so that's the difference between Rav Asher Weiss and Yitzchak Yosef. That was a difference. So, do you take it off for the bracha or not? But for sure, this is a much better type of a cover. Halacha Peivav. Tefillin no, the other one does not help for the bracha. It doesn't help with the bracha. Right? Tefillin shel rosh tov liotam megulim v'nid'im. The tefillin shel rosh is the exact opposite of the tefillin shel yad. Tefillin shel yad, we just said, should be covered. Tefillin shel rosh should be revealed. Yechtiv ra'u kol ha'me'aretz. Ishem asher nikra elecha v'yanum meka. But me'aretz have to come and they have to see the tefillin shel rosh. So they have to see it. ולפי דברי האריזה, על ידי זאת המדריזה לקדוש המקובלים, צריך שיהיו תפילין של ראש מכוסים בטלית. Should be covered with a talit. שיורד הטלית עד סוף המצח. The talit should go down until the metzach. Right, this is brought down in Ben Ishchai in the Kaf HaChaim. And even during the time of הנחת תפילין שלוש, סברו שצריך לכסות את המצח, right, את הראש בטלית בשעת הנחה. ממש, you have to cover the head with the talit in order that it should be בצנעה. יש שסברו, and some people held, and that אריזה לקדוש, שהטלית תכסה התפילין בצורה שיהיה כאין גג על התפילין. That it should be like a gag on התפילין. Aval mikol makom, but nevertheless, you need in milefanav. It should be seen in the front, meaning it should be like a gag, like a techo. How do you say, like a roof? But it should be revealed only in the front, meaning the back, the top, the back sides covered. The front should be revealed according to the shita. Minhag Maran in Shol Tzion, she'av k'shaya mechaser rosho betalit, even if he used to come and cover, right? This is probably rosho, not rishon. Lo haya mechase bet התפילין של ראש, you wouldn't cover it at all. That's a typo. That should be mechase ראשו. ופעמים רבות שכלל לא היה נותן טלית על ראשו. Many times he wouldn't even put on the talit on his head. Look above in Siman, Kaf Hey. Okay, look at 204. Number 204, the Shimush Rabbah states that one must keep the tefillin covered. Okay? The Bet Yosef cited the Sefer Truma, interpreting the Shimush as referring to the tefillin shel yad only. And he found that the Ruch HaKohanim agreed with this. This is based upon the Gemara, that the tefillin shel yad is meant to be assigned for you, not for anybody else. The simple meaning of the Gemara is tefillin shel rosh should be visible to other people. And the Mordechai, however, understood that the Shimush Rabbah is referring to tefillin shel rosh. The Shulchan Aruch ruled that it is best to leave the tefillin shel rosh uncovered and visible to others. And the Mishnah added that if someone covers the tefillin shalosh completely, he still fulfills the mitzvah, right? Even though it's not the ideal. Meaning, according to the Kabbalah, according to the way that they learn the Kabbalah, you're chayav lechasoto legamre. According to the Mishnah, that's not the ideal manner. So it means here, it's not one of those things that, you know what, why don't you just do al pi Kabbalah? No, because according to the halacha, it's not the best. If you're going to be mamash lechasot legamre tefillin shalosh, so it's not that simple. So he says over here like this: since Talmud, page 186, since the Talmud brings the pasuk v'ra'u kol ma'aseh all nations are going to see them. So therefore, according to the Kabbalah, how do they reconcile this? So one possible solution is the tashbetz. He explains that as long as the tefillin is in its proper place in the head, whether it's covered or not, that already they're afraid of it. Meaning they come, they see יש לך איזה משהו בראש, מפחדים, לא צריכים לראות בעצם the tefillin. The fact that they come and they see you and you have that, that's already enough, according to this way. Furthermore, the Tashbetz explained that the Gemara never meant that all the nations come to see the Jews wearing tefillin. Right? It has nothing to do with it. He just says that that's what's going to happen. They hear these reports. Okay? The Kaf HaChaim Sofer offered his own solution, explaining that even if someone covers the tefillin shalosh completely, the bulge of the tefillin is still visible to others. Okay, so that's what he explained. Right? He explained the Kabbalist instructions to cover the tefillin shalosh completely with the tefillin, as long as you're still tefillin the shalosh, it's like the Ben Ishchai, that a person puts his talit forward until mamash the forehead. Okay, the Magen Avraham explained, however, that according to the Rizal, tefillin shalosh should be covered by the talit, the front of the bait should be still visible. Meaning, according to the way the Magen Avraham learned the Arizal, it's only the sides and the top that was covered. The front was still revealed. Right? The front part, this part over here. Okay? So then now he brings down also the Tzor Chaim asserted as well, also according to the Arizal. Right? On the other hand, the Morutzia, right, he went and he explained that the Magen Avraham agreed that during the tefillah, right, the tefillin shalosh should be completely covered, but other times it should be revealed. So again, according to the gloss of the Ish Matzliach Mazuz went and he used to cover the tefillin completely during Shachrit, and then he would uncover them, right, while doing the Chok L'Yisrael. I mean, he did a compromise. During Shachrit, completely covered. And afterwards, during Chok L'Yisrael, he would do it uncovered. Nowadays, the common custom is to leave it uncovered completely, right, as explained above, and that was also the Rishon LeZion. What about covering tefillin Rabbeinu Tam? Right? What about those ones? Because until now, we were talking about Rashi. What about Rabbeinu Tam? So many of those who wear the two sets of tefillin at the same time have the practice of wearing an oversized yarmulke, right, the kippah, that covers, right, the tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam, and leaving the tefillin of Rashi uncovered. According to the Gospel of the Ish Matziach and Mishabura, this practice is unfounded and has no source. Meaning, where did you ever see that you have to cover the tefillin shel Rabbeinu Tam? He says, apparently, he contended, these people confuse the rule of the straps with the rule of the batim. The rule is that you have to cover the straps of the tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam, right? With the strap of the tefillin shel Rashi, but nothing to do with the batim. According to the Kabbalists, both sets of tefillin must be covered. Meaning, why are you only covering the Rabbeinu Tam? You should cover both. Like, what's going on? So, only the Ritzuot. Arav Yosef Chaim Mizrahi says, right, he concluded a lengthy discussion on the issue, and he says like this: the words of the Kabbalists teach us that we must cover the tefillin with a talit, right? They not with some other cover. Unlike those who cover the tefillin with a hat or with a kippah. What's going on? There are those that cover only the tefillin or Rabbeinu Tam, but in truth, there's no source for that. Why would it happen? Right? But in the footnote, he brought a proof for this position from the prayer book of Rav Yaakov Emden. Right? He brings the prayer book of Rav Yaakov Emden. On the other hand, it is well known that Rav Ben Zion Abba Shaul and Rav Shalom Cohen covered the tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam with the kippah. Perhaps their intention was to hide the fact that they were wearing two sets of tefillin in the same time, which is not the practice of most people. As explained below in Siman 34, Manan and Zion proved that the prohibition not to go to do does not apply to this practice. Furthermore, anyone can see that they wore a second tefillin underneath their kippah. Someone once asked Rav Chida if he could wear his hat over the tefillin Rabbeinu Tam, explaining that whenever he attempted to wear both over both tefillin, his hat fell off. That Rav Chida replied that in his circumstances it could be permitted. The Achronim debated whether the Rav Chida meant to promote the idea of covering the tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam and leaving Rashi uncovered or not. So it's a machloket. What was Shitat Rav Chida? So he says the response of the Mechkere Eretz brought down Rav Mordechai Sharabi, instructing his followers to cover their tefillin of Rabbeinu Tam with a kippah, but to cover their tefillin of Rashi with a talit. So in short, it needs more research. So he doesn't have a conclusive, he doesn't have it, meaning whether it's good, not good. He did bring down one proof, bring down there's Rav Chida, huh? Because again, you have Rav Shalom Cohen, you have Rav Ben Tzur Shaul, so you do have. We just mentioned it. Okay, fine. No, we just mentioned it. Rav Ben Tzur Shaul, it was Rav Chida. The question is, what was the pshat of Rav Chida? Right? Again, so you have all these things. So because of that, and Rav Mordechai Sharabi, right? Rav Mordechai Sharabi. That was which one? One minute. I just have one more. The elevation on Sinai. The Talmud teaches that Rav Huna Bar Bizna, in the name of Shimon Chasida, he interpreted the pasuk, "I will remove my palm, and you will see that which is behind me." Right. Right. So he comes and he says like this to mean that Hashem showed Moshe Rabbeinu the tefillin shel Rosh. So based on this, the Mordechai said that although the Shmush Rabbah taught that the tefillin shel Rosh must be covered, the knot must be visible. The Bet Yosef concluded that nowadays this practice is not observed because it would display haughtiness. For some reason, right, the Mishnah Brura, he comes and he brings down the Aliyah stating that ideally we should leave the knot of the tefillin shel Rosh visible, right? But that this is not the current practice. He did not mention the Bet Yosef already brought this down, right, beforehand. Why, in fact, do we not leave the knot visible? So he says when the Talmud seems to infer that this is the preferred manner. So he says it could be that we fulfill the Talmud's teaching just before taking off the tefillin. When we take it off, then obviously it's going to be visible, and therefore that's when you have it. So the Gemara itself says that Hashem displayed to Moshe Rabbeinu as a cantor wrapped in a talit, and at the end of his prayer, he uncovered his head and displayed the knot of the Rosh. So according to that, he was only doing it when he actually took it off, but not in the middle of his tefillah.